MMA people. All right, so when I first got the news about Nick Diaz is returning to the UFC to fight, I looked at the matchup and I seen Vicente Luque. I say, damn, they're doing it again. Meaning the matchup is unfavorable in my opinion. I did not like the Robbie Lawler matchup, and we see how that actually played out. Um, so the way that that played out is actually evidence that it just wasn't a good matchup. Even though he beat Robbie Lawler way before, okay, it's a whole different fight, whole different situation. Moving to now, I see Vicente Luque. I say, damn, they're doing it again. But I listened to Kevin Holland interview, and it turns out that he says that they offered him the matchup against Nick Diaz, the fight, but he turned it down, even though that they had that little history with the brawl or whatever, the little dust up in the back, which ended up them having to cancel the press conference for that last fight that Nate was fighting in versus, which was supposed to be versus Hamza. Okay, which that is another matchup where people are like, "What are they? What are they doing? They're trying to get somebody hurt." But Kevin Holland says he turns it down because he did not want to wait that month. Okay, there was 1 month between that fight and the fight he's about to take, or he just took, and so he didn't want to wait. So they tried to get him Kevin Holland. I think that would have been a really fun fight. Kevin, come on, man. That would have come on, man. So didn't get that. And people are like, all right, so why don't you just have him fight Tony Ferguson? A lot of people are wondering, why don't you have Tony Ferguson and Nick Diaz fight? Well, if my memory serves me correctly, we go back to around that time when Nate Diaz was fighting George Masvidal, or just fought George Masvidal, right in that time of the BMF production, creation, origin. All right, that interview, I believe, was with Brett Okamoto with and Nick Diaz. Now, in that interview, there was something going on between Nick Diaz and George Masvidal, and there was wondering, well, how about you two fight? But Nick was saying that him and his brother don't take each other's fights. That's his fight. So he doesn't want to step in between that unless I believe he said his brother like encouraged him to do so or something of this nature. Okay. So my thinking is that okay, well, because Tony Ferguson fought Nate Diaz in his last fight, that's his brother's fight. And on top of that, if you go to that interview, you will also see Nick Diaz refers to Nate as his baby brother. And so if his baby brother just beat Tony Ferguson, in his mind, his mind, he's thinking, my baby brother just beat Tony Ferguson. Well, I don't need to beat him. Okay, my baby brother just beat him. Give me somebody different. Don't forget the Diaz brothers. They do take any challenger. They will fight anyone. Okay, as bad of a matchup as you may think it is for them, they think they have a great chance. And I'm not saying that Nick doesn't have a chance against Vicente Luque at all. I'm just saying the matchup and based on a lot of different things, I don't think it's the best matchup. I would have liked to see him against somebody like a more fun fight, more high profile name, maybe even a little older guy, somebody like I mean even Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, maybe something like that. I think would have been more appropriate. But y'all let me know what you think. All right. MMA House on MMA Block, and we in the middle of MMAville. And yes, we keep it real.